Talk Shoe.
Recorded live. Hello, and it is Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which means it's time once again for With Special Guest. I'm your host, Mike Lineski, once again joined by Will Allen and David Edens. Hi, Will and David.
Hello, Willie.
I'm going to cut the music because that's actually still a little too loud. But anyway, we have music that actually faded out this time instead of like every time else. Crazy. Baby steps. But we'll get to that in a minute. Everybody's still on the mute wall right now as I chatter for just a little bit. If you're listening to this show on a download or streaming and you want to call in, what you want to do is dial 724-444-7444. It'll ask you for our call ID, which is 92532. If you've signed up for the service, you'll enter your PIN. If you have not, you can just hit 1 and pound and join as a guest. This way you can talk to us and our guests every week. So if you've got questions for Johnny Yong Bosch this evening, you're free to call in and ask him directly. And we'll get to the question and answer session in a little bit. You can also follow the show on TalkShoe if you have a login. There's a little follow this button on top of our call page, which is excellent. So you can kind of go and get email updates when we schedule people. As I mentioned in the pre-show, we just scheduled Ethan Nicole, the artist of Axe Cop, and he'll be on April 3rd, which I think is pretty darn cool. Also, we have our blog at withspecialguest.posterous.com, which you can also sign up for a free Posterous account and follow that as well, where we put up all our little news updates. So that's my little chatter. Now I'm going to unmute everybody. And there we go.
Cool.
I had to do a little promo. I forgot that I hadn't been doing it for like 4 shows. It's like, oh yeah, I should tell people how to call in.
Yeah, probably a good idea. So, I'm sitting here with the Super Bowl on mute before we get started, and I wanted to comment on a couple commercials I just saw.
So
first and foremost,
go ahead.
First and foremost, they just had an American Idol ad on, and I'm like, apparently they're adding Keith Richards to the or Steven Tyler, one of the two of them.
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler, the slightly less dead person of the two.
Yeah, Steven Tyler, thank you, to the show. And the only thing I think is, and this is what I was going to say first, and you'll find out why that was superseded in a moment, his mouth just keeps getting bigger.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. And that was what I was going to comment on. The next commercial that came on really creeped me out. You know the little avatar for the Android phones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're releasing a gaming phone that's apparently some kind of collaboration with PlayStation. And the entire ad was somebody, everybody, all the humans you see in there look kind of, I'm not being racist, but Asian. And it basically went into like a body horror chop shop, and they'd grafted human thumbs onto the Android thing.
That's just weird.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of freaked me out.
Okay, weirdness aside, David, let's get slightly back on track. Last week we had manga editor and translator Jonathan Tarbox on, and you can go and listen to his show. I think he gave a great interview. And if you missed it, you definitely want to listen to it. You would think that being a manga editor and translator would be kind of boring work, but his story of how he got into it was I think fantastic. That link's in the chat room there if you've missed that. And that's who we had last week. Also, the With Special Guest team will be at Comic-Con. That's Kamicon in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, February 19th and 20th, along with Kyle Hebert and Johnny Yong Bosch, and who will also be there with his band Eyeshine. That's a good time for Johnny to mention it. He's stunned. I've stunned him.
Oh wait.
Mike.
I'm supposed to be talking.
Did you forget that you were going to Alabama in a couple of weeks?
No, actually, I was just looking at it. No, I will be there with my band, Eyeshine, yes.
Yes, indeed. And we might stop by and say hi to you so you can put faces to our names.
Definitely, you should.
We'll do it. We'll do it. So yes, they'll be at Comic-Con, and we'll be at Comic-Con. We will also be interviewing Little Karibo when we're there, and that audio will be posted as soon as we're back from the convention, which will probably be the evening of the 20th, because we've got to get back and have an interview that night at 8:00. So, but that's happening. We're going. It'll be fun. You want to go? It's a free con in Tuscaloosa. If you're in the Georgia area, like myself and my co-host, it's about a 5-hour drive, and it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
They used an old picture of me from like '92.
Did they? So you look younger?
Yeah, I look ridiculous. It looks like a JCPenney ad or something.
Are you secretly a JCPenney model?
No, but it sure looks pretty cheesy.
All right, well, if you want to see an embarrassing picture of Johnny Yong Bosch, go to comiccon.net, and there you go.
Yeah, I always send them the right stuff, and then they end up using this one that they find online. Oh well.
They Google you and go, that one with the foofy hair. That's the one we want to use.
No, I mean, I don't have foofy hair, but I do have like highlights. Like some highlights in my hair.
Is it an old Power Rangers promo picture?
No, it's not. It's not Power Rangers. It's around the same time though.
Fair enough. Maybe that's why they're picking it. Who knows? We'll get to that in a minute. So, William, what are you reading this month?
What am I reading this month? I'm archive binging Discworld.
Oh, excellent. How's that been going for you?
I'm about halfway through the watch books because for some reason, I managed to miss Discworld entirely until like last year. So I've got some catching up to do. It's good times, fun, very British.
David, what are you reading this week?
I've been going through some old Sherlock Holmes short stories. It started out as a class assignment, and it's turned into I'm just enjoying reading them. So.
Do you get the big collected Sherlock Holmes Bible?
It's the Adventures in the Memoirs. So, it's most of the short stories. All the ones from up to when he first killed Holmes off, not the ones after he brought him back.
Because those are bad.
Yeah. Agreed.
How's about you, Mike?
I haven't been doing much reading. I have to admit, my reading composes mostly of reading stuff for Operation BSU on Fridays, or researching this show. So it's like you would think that I have more time for it, but I really don't. I need to make some more time and read some Christopher Moore, because I've got a backlog of his stuff, which, if you guys haven't read it, he is hysterically funny.
Wait, who?
Christopher Moore. He wrote Lamb, the Gospel According to Jesus' childhood pal, Biff. And it's one of the few books that pretty much every freaking chapter I'm laughing at something, because it's fantastically written. Lamb is probably one of my favorite books. Easily.
Check that out.
You can check him out at chrismoore.com. And he's a great writer. I like I said, Lamb, The Stupidest Angel, and You Suck are pretty good books. I need to read Fool. I have it, but I haven't read it yet, which is another retelling. So, but I'm backlogged right now. I've got buried in show work and thinking about that con that we have in a month. So there's that. William, I believe you have a what the fuck this month for American comics.
Oh, geez. There was so much that hurt me in my comic place. If I had to pick one thing, it is still going to have to be the entirety of Deadpool Max.
What is so weird about it?
Well, the very first issue of Deadpool Max, which is from a couple months ago, but it hasn't... You know what? I'm just going to go with the one from this month. The last scene of the comic is Deadpool dressed as a rabbi singing a song from Fiddler on the Roof, killing Nazis.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie. I think they finally hit the point where Deadpool is actually officially overexposed, and they've gone too far.
They've actually trimmed him down to 2 books, but they're done with the whole let's push him ridiculously.
Oh, at least that's something.
Yeah.
That is definitely a little odd for American comics.
Well, the Max imprint is the Marvel's we can do whatever we want because these are rated adult comics, which is why it has a lot of really icky things in it.
Yeah, but you still want them to have, like, decent stories and shit, but they don't pull that, do they?
Well, they're trying. They really are, but the writer is indulging way too much in the I can do it, so I will mentality.
Oh, I understand that completely. That makes me feel bad. What else makes us feel bad? David.
What makes us feel bad? This is bad and makes us feel bad. I don't know what to call them, but they're those TV shows that have just shown up all over lately. Mainly they're on, like, TLC and Discovery and History, which, why they're on History, I have no idea. Anyway, since I can't put a name to it, I'll give you a few examples. I'm talking about shows like Cake Boss, Say Yes to the Dress, Pawn Stars, all the Truckers and Loggers History Channel series. I mean, I can point to the real first one that came out about this, and that was Deadliest Catch, but I'll be honest, Deadliest Catch is a decent show. I enjoy Deadliest Catch. The rest of these, it's just schlock.
It's just watching people do their job.
Yeah, watching normal people do normal things is not entertaining for me.
Which,
I don't know,
which
maybe
is why
I'm
I
just
like.
not...
Well, no, which is why I like Dirty Jobs, because Micro is doing something different. He's getting outside of his comfort element.
But those aren't normal jobs. Those are like really gross, bizarre jobs.
And he does something different every week. It's not, oh, hey, we're making a cake like this today. Oh, now we're making a cake like that.
You know
or,
what
hey,
what gets me?
This person.
What gets me about those shows is the fake TLC or whatever network they're on drama, where they put in that weird cut and it's like, are they gonna make the cake? Oh no! Yes, they did.
Yeah. Either make your reality TV show or make a drama. Pick.
Yeah. Which dress will she pick? Oh no! But they're all like that. They all have these weird fake elements inserted in.
I guess I can say the reason that Deadliest Catch is decent is because there's actually an element of risk to it.
Well, yeah, because people
they
keep
have
dying.
People die on the show. But I mean, no, I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's a very common occurrence for someone to die in a bakery or a wedding dress shop.
Well, I mean, the guy did just pass away in Cake Boss. The guy who's been there for forever. Sal, I think it is. But it's like, but you knew it was coming. He was old, and they knew he was sick, and it's like, okay, you just understand that. But Deadliest Catch, you're like, oh, it's a storm, and oh no.
Somebody just washed over, they'd never see him again. Whoops.
I've been informed that Fergie is singing "Sweet Child of Mine" right now at the halftime show, and that's broken my brain just a little bit. Thanks for that.
Oh.
Still not as bad as listening to Celine Dion sing "We Will Rock You," which I did. But
were you bad? Did you hate yourself that you had to listen to that?
I didn't. I wasn't happy.
I hated my ears.
Yeah.
Put it that way. So anyway, back on track. That's what bad makes us feel bad.
I think Fergie singing
"Sweet Child of Mine." That's
mine
bad.
is bad, and it'll be up on YouTube in like 30 minutes. We might put it up in the chat room.
It's probably already up.
Yeah, probably. They are live streaming the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and Son of Rosedower makes a reference to the Key of Awesome episode that they parodied Black Eyed Peas. Don't stop believing, 'cause we're dancing on the ceiling.
I hate everything forever.
as well you should. This is you come on this show and I expose you to Fergie singing "Sweet Child of Mine."
Everything is ruined forever.
That's what we do. Well, tonight we are joined by. Well, goodness, what haven't you done, Johnny? He's been in live action stuff on television and in movies. He's done voice work, and he has a band called I Shine. We're welcoming Johnny Yong Bosch to our show this week. How are you doing tonight, Johnny?
What's up? Doing good.
You're free to chime in into any of this madness, by the way, if you would like to. Do you have something that you're reading this week that you want to recommend?
No. Not really reading anything right now. I've just been working, so.
Well, I'm going to mute everybody here and play one of your songs. I've decided on playing Here Comes the End Again,
Right.
which is about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And once we're back from the song, we're going to ask you a bunch of questions, all right?
Sounds good.
So, excellent. And if you're in the chat room and you have any questions for Johnny Yong Bosch, feel free to type them in, and we'll get to them as soon as we're able to. Whoops. That was the wrong song. And we are back.
Woo!
As people are dancing around in the chat room. Where was the comment? Somebody said this was the first iShine song that they ever heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if we exposed them to it or if it was just a coincidence. Perhaps both at the same time. Who knows?
I don't think it can be both, can it?
You never know. You never know.
No, but
Just try not to think about it too much, David.
but it's too late. I'm thinking about it.
All right, Johnny, how are you tonight? I think I already asked you that, but I'm going to ask you it again.
I'm doing good.
Doing well? Excellent.
Yeah.
So, my first question to you this evening is, did you jump into voiceover work because of some voiceover stuff that you had to do on Power Rangers, or how did that come about?
No. Well, after Power Rangers, I did this. It was a fluke. I did this live action film, and the sound guys somehow screwed it up. Well, I guess the camera that was being used was like all Japanese, so they didn't know how to read the instructions on the menu screen or whatever. So when they connected the audio, it didn't record properly. So I had to go through and dub myself throughout the film. And as I was doing that, the producer was there, and he would punch in occasionally and say, "You have a decent hero voice." And I was like, "Cool." You know, I mean, I was playing the hero, so it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I was like, "Well, okay, that's perfect then for what I'm doing, I guess, right?" But then he told me afterwards that he was doing this anime, and he wanted me to come in and audition for a role. And so I went in and auditioned for Vash and Trigun and got the part, and that kind of was the start for me.
So what was the film that you worked on that had the camera that was in Japanese?
It's called Wicked Game or Extreme Heist. I think over here it's Extreme Heist. Yeah, over here it's Extreme Heist. Overseas it's Wicked Game.
We'll have to take a look and see that. So it was an interesting experience to have to go back in and redub yourself?
Yeah, I mean, well, that wasn't so unique because, you know, we did do some of that on Power Rangers, you know. But this one, obviously, I had to redub. I think I had to redub everything. Yeah, I believe I had to redub it all. But it wasn't anything new or different, really, from what I had done before. The anime certainly was different, though. The anime was really different. I didn't know really what to expect, you know, when I went into it. I was used to, you know, what Popeye and Tom and Jerry, so I didn't really know what was out there as far as like how deep the stories actually went until I started working on Trigun.
All right. Well, that kind of gives a lead into what I want to know. You've done voice acting. You've done live action. Which do you prefer?
That's a tough one. You know, I think if I had to choose, I would probably choose live action or on camera because it involves more of myself. But it's tough because, you know, there are a lot of really great, you know, voiceover roles. And for me, any character where there's quite a bit of emotional range that the person goes through, it's just a lot of fun to play. You know, I would even say Nero from Devil May Cry 4 is probably one of my favorite characters to ever play. And that was, I mean, it was kind of everything. You know, I went to Japan to do the motion capture, so I was still acting out everything, but then I also had to go back through, you know, and dub myself over. So it's kind of both, really. So it was a pretty unique experience, but it's cool.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, like David said, you do lots of live action. You do lots of voice work. You're probably the most prolific voiceover artist I can think of, and you do all this stuff with your band iShine. Plus, you go to cons. How do you have time to do all this stuff?
You know, I don't know. It's the thing is I enjoy what I do, and I think anytime that you actually enjoy your work, you just make time for it. You know, it's not like my hobbies would be doing this stuff. Like for the past week, I've been editing this film that I shot with a buddy of mine, and it's because it's just part of what I like to do. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like if your hobby was your job, you would just do it, you know? You just make time to do it. Does that make sense?
It does.
No, that makes perfect sense.
That makes total sense.
You know, it's like, yeah, like if I collected rocks, you know, half of the day or whatever, then I would make time to do that too, but I just don't, you know. Instead, what I do is I write music or whatever, I guess. I don't know.
What's the film you're editing right now called?
It's called Love Like Bullet. It's an action film. It's a got guns and stuff in it. So it's kind of an action film with how did we explain it? It was a true romance meets something. Yeah.
Do you know when it's gonna come out?
No, I don't. I mean, we've been like I just did the final edit today, so we're locking the picture down, and then I start all the sound effects and the score tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. Well, we will keep our eyes peeled for that. We've got some questions from the chat room here. Kingdom Yoshi asks, who does the cover art for the iShine albums?
Usually I do. Yeah, I usually put it together. It's me.
So another thing that you make time to do there. Also asked is, what was the inspiration for the cover art for Tone of Echoes?
That one was tough. That was probably the simplest thing. I chose that art. Basically, it was there's satellite images of the atmosphere, and Tone of Echoes, the album, is more of kind of a reflection of not just us as a band, but as a generation of people, and so I wanted something that felt like we were looking at maybe a dawn of a new era or something, and the only way I could see that is almost from space to look down at us, so I wanted to find some kind of imagery that would kind of reflect an idea, I guess, and so it's actually really simple looking, and I didn't really even do anything filter-wise to any of those images.
Prophet 144 says, with Stratosphere being one of the songs on Tone of Echoes, your explanation of the cover art makes a lot of sense.
Right, yeah.
So how did you get involved with iShine?
Well, basically, it was, after I had done Power Rangers, I had a lot of time of like nothing, when I first on the show, the show was popular, everybody knows that. But as far as from an actor's perspective, and then, and I mean, anybody would know this as well, watching it is a cheesy kids show, and so after that, trying to get work was really tough, like no one took really, I didn't get taken, hardly any of us really were taken serious after the show as actors. And a lot of times we would go into an audition, they find out they were on Power Rangers, and then they kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, right, and so there's a good dry spell there for a few years, and so I had picked up a guitar, and I just started to teach myself how to play, and at some point I figured out that I wanted to, start a band. I thought I was good enough to write music, and so I went around and started looking for some people to join with me, and that's basically how it started.
Sounds like a good origin story there.
Yeah.
I guess.
So,
yeah.
So talking about how you got involved with things, I guess I want to back it up a little bit and ask, how'd you get involved with the Power Rangers franchise in the first place?
Well, I'm a martial artist, and at the time I was studying Shaolin Kung Fu, and
Okay.
I was training on a Saturday, and my instructor had this newspaper, and he was looking through it as we were doing our whatever we were working on, and he had seen this article that had some Power Rangers on it, and he brought me over and pointed it out to me and showed that they were looking for new Rangers. And I asked him, well, is it like stunt people or is it like actors? And he didn't know. From the thing, it didn't really specify. It just said looking for new Rangers, and there's this big casting, cattle call basically, and they're holding these auditions nationwide. And so he told me that he thought that I had a good chance and I should give it a shot. And so he helped me put together a little, like a demo, I guess, of just flipping and kicking, and I went out and auditioned, and that's basically, and that's how I got into it. I mean, it was a long audition process, and there were like thousands of people when I first showed up. It was strange too. It was the first audition I had ever done. I mean, I wanted to become like an action, movie star. It's kind of like was my dream when I was like in high school and or even younger than that. And then so to get a shot at it was kind of cool. And my master knew that too, and that's why he told me to go out and give it a shot.
Cool. So was working on the show a good experience for you?
Yeah, it definitely was. A lot of people think that I hate it or hate talking about it, and I know there are some other guys that actually do hate talking about it. But for me, it was a great experience. It was fun, I had no acting experience going into it, and so I mean, I was probably the worst actor on the show, but I loved it. I had a good time,
I'm surprised to hear you say that because I always thought you were one of the best actors on the show. But is that why you've kept going back, just because you like it so much? Because like I think you've had the most cameo appearances besides Jason David Frank.
Right. Yeah. Well, it wasn't. No, it's once the show was done, I was gone, and I didn't really care to come back. But then I'm good friends with Koichi Sakamoto, who was. He was first a stunt guy, and then he became, the action director, and eventually became executive producer of the show. And so, he would say, "Hey, we got this episode. What do you think about coming back?" And any chance to work with him and the Alpha Stunt team is just, it's a blast for me. And so, I usually I just said yes. I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll go back and do it. And it's fun too. I had a good time each time I went back. But I mean, it is what it is. It's still Power Rangers, it's still the same show. And I don't think I'll ever get even if I kept going back, I don't think there's really going to be I'm going to be stuck in that role and never be able to live it down,
So was there a lot of difference when you went back to film Once a Ranger?
Well, it was done in New Zealand, so there was a big location difference, and the crew was it was basically a whole new crew except for the stunt guys and Koichi. But the script was very much the same, It was I had actually, before going to shoot it, they hadn't given me a script, and I was hoping to get a script soon, and so I just wanted to check on YouTube and see what the show was like. And I saw one episode from Dan Southworth. I can't remember what season it was, but one of those shows that he was in, and I saw an episode, and it had a good story, and it was the acting they were acting, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And so I thought, oh, this is going to be great. There's going to be much more acting and something. But I got there, got the script, and it was it was as if I never left the show. It was the same thing, and so it was a bit cheesy. But the cool thing is I was able to. I've obviously evolved as an actor, and so I was able to do, kind of what I wanted to, and just kind of play him how I felt like it. And I changed a ton of lines, and nobody really had any problems with that,
Oh, that's great. So it wasn't weird being the only Saban Ranger there. You just kind of melded with the rest of the cast and jumped right in.
Yeah, everybody was pretty cool. I got along with everyone pretty well.
That's fantastic. We got some more questions for the chat room, and then David's going to take the next one after that. You being asked, what is your next video going to be? What song is it, and when is it going to come out?
That's a good question. We've been talking about that, and we're not exactly sure. We were. It's been between. Well, originally we were gonna do Stratosphere, but then our director that we had to do that one and kind of got busy, and so we started thinking, okay, well, what other songs should we do? And we had just released our acoustic album on iTunes, Afterglow, and so we thought we did a song with Kimberly Freeman called Tearing Away. And so we thought we would shoot that one because she was going to come out here to L.A. And she ended up having to go, further north than where we're at, so we couldn't do that. So we're right now thinking maybe we'll do Silver Star, but it's still kind of up in the air. We haven't started. We just started coming up with ideas. We haven't figured out exactly what we're going to shoot.
Right, and someone makes mention that Jason Narvey will be doing a video for you using a song of his choice. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Actually, he was going to do Tearing Away, but now I just kind of said, well, here, pick which song you want to do and let's do it. So yeah, I'm good friends with Narvey, and he comes by occasionally. We shoot the breeze or whatever. We write scripts and stuff together. So
that's fantastic. Keeping in touch with him.
Actor. Yeah, he's fun to work with.
And the last question from the chat for this round is, with Wolf's Rain, Haruhi, and now Durarara, would you say that Crispin Freeman is your voice acting rival?
Sometimes he is, him or Yuri, right? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a lot of us are, we run the same circles, or even Steve Bloom, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you know several people who have been on the show or who are going to be on our show in the future. So you guys kind of know each other, and I think have playful rivalries. So that's how actually I like to think of it.
Yeah, I get along with everyone, and for the most, everybody's pretty cool actually. There might be a couple douchebags, but for the most part, the voice actors are pretty cool.
Cool. So, I know your band put out a new album about a month ago, right?
Yes. The acoustic album, yeah.
Right. How should I put this? Have you done anything else in the last 3 months we might have missed?
As far as just anything?
Oh yeah, just anything.
I don't know. I don't think so. Nothing that's come out that I can think of.
Okay.
We started recording another album, so we're in the middle of that. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess we're in this competition. It's kind of a battle of the bands, and they're airing it over here on KTLA. I think it's like an hour-long broadcast, and if we win, that'd be great. Otherwise, it would suck to be on TV and lose. But yeah, I don't think anything else really has come up. Yeah.
All right. Can you tell us about any upcoming projects you are or might be working on?
Maybe that's what you're talking about. There's a few games that I don't even know if they're out yet. I haven't really taken a look. So there's some games that some people are speculating that I'm in because maybe they heard me in a trailer or something like that. And chances are it's true. But I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about them yet.
Yeah, non-disclosures and whatnot. You have to be careful.
Exactly.
Well, they have officially released the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 cast list, so.
They have?
Well, it got leaked, so everybody knows, even if it wasn't official.
Okay, well.
Yeah, and Kyle Hebert talked about that a little bit, too.
Did he? Okay. Hebert. Don't
Hebert.
You don't have to, yeah, Hebert. Not Hebert.
Jeez, Mike.
You think I'd know since he was on the show 2 weeks ago.
Cool. So I really don't know. There are a few things I'm sure that are coming out. I play it safe, and most people know this. I won't talk about anything. I won't even if it's out. I probably won't talk about it unless I know for a fact that I can.
No,
they get upset, and you can get in trouble, and maybe they won't bring you in for something. I like to make sure I keep my relationships in the business good. It's weird though. I would think that you would want us to promote. Hey, let me promote this game that I'm in before it comes out. But no.
Very super secretive stuff.
Yeah.
Business people will be business people.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand it.
No. It's weird, but whatever.
You've become sort of ubiquitous in the business now. Have you ever gotten those complaints that a lot of people do about your more famous roles, that you're not doing it right or you're not enough like the Japanese performance or any of that stuff?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm sure every voice actor gets that. Anybody in any business gets criticism, really. And so if it's anything like this where it's already been done or dubbed or whatever, and then to hear us come through and do it, yeah, I do hear it occasionally. You know, I hear both, you know, good and bad, and you just kind of expect that. I mean, not everybody's gonna like you, so.
So it doesn't ever bother you when people do kind of give that grumbly, you're not doing it right sort of opinion?
Well, I mean, it's weird because, like, what does that mean? I'm not doing it right, you know? Do I have to do it exactly like the Japanese person or Korean person or Indian person or whoever, Spanish person that I've dubbed over? Yeah, I would think that as long as what I'm doing is true to the emotion of the character, I would think it'd be okay, you know? But then again, I do understand, like, I watched Seven Samurai when I was a kid. If I were to hear it dubbed, it might be odd for me, you know? It'd be weird. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I preferred, you know, the subtitle because that's the way I heard it first, you know, so I can understand that, you know. So it doesn't bother me, you know, as long as people aren't crazy about it, like, and have to come hunt me down or something. People are coming after me, then there's going to be an issue. But I think most people, if they might have an issue, or it usually is something that isn't really that big a deal. People are generally nice people, for the most part. There have been a couple people that, you know, would come up and they tell me that they don't like what I've done, but they still want my autograph, which is weird. You know, I'm like, well, why? But you know, maybe that. I mean, some people don't like me in one thing, like me in another. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize that we're just like an instrument, you know. It's like we'll go there and when we're in the booth or whatever, we basically are acting the way we want to play the character, but then it has to go through the director, you know, and then producers. So not everything is our choice, you know. It's like we make a choice on how we play the line or how we deliver it, and then the director says, no, do it this way. Or the writing is really kind of odd, you know. I mean, how many anime have you seen where the dialogue is just ridiculous, you know? So you can't, yeah, exactly. You can't really blame the actor because the actor didn't write it, you know. But people still do because the actor is the voice of the character, so they're going to blame, you know, the actor for saying it so stupid when they didn't write the script, you know. So I think once people start to realize that, you know, and I think more and more people are realizing, oh, yeah, okay, well, I don't like it, but it wasn't because of him. It was because of the dialogue, you know. And, you know, sometimes it is the director. We get all kinds of people in there. Like I was on a show, actually it was a game where I had 3 directors, and 2 of them were actually producers. And, you know, I had to deliver a line, and I delivered the line the way I felt like made sense, you know, and then one of the producers punched in and he said, actually, can you read that line a little more sad? And so I read the line a little more sad with, you know, a sad inflection. And then the other producer punched in and was like, actually, can you read that line happy? And so I was like,
oh,
yeah, exactly. So,
dang.
So I'm like, okay, sure, I can do that, you know. And then before they let me do it, they both are talking to each other, and I could see them through the window. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they punch back in, and they're like, now, can you read that line, happy, sad? This is a true story. I'm not making it up. And then I'm like looking at them like, you want me to read this line, happy, sad? And I'm like, you realize that those are opposites. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, I'll read it, happy, sad. you know. And so I just made up something that was, I guess, happy sad because they bought it. They were like, okay, good, you know. And so that's something that, you know, as an actor, you deal with that kind of stuff constantly, you know. Not that every director is like that, but you do deal with that often where it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense, but if you want me to do it that way, fine. And then that's what they keep. And then it gets out there, and then you're like, well, that was pretty lame, but whatever. So I think more and more people are actually realizing that it's not always the actor's fault, you know. And then some people just don't like that I'm in a bunch of stuff.
Well, yeah, you get edited quite a bit. You like you say, you have people come back and say, yeah, we need you to do the line this way or that way. And given that, have you ever had a line that was difficult to say with a straight face or without laughing?
I feel like that's happened often, you know, especially with anime, because sometimes the dialogue is weird. Sometimes they want to translate it direct, and it doesn't always translate well. I did this show, Mars Daybreak, and it was like a mech show, and there's these round, you know, ball units that controlled these. They were like the mind of these mech, and there's always this weird. It just seemed like weird dialogue, and it was like one of the bits was my mech unit wasn't working, and my line was. My balls unit isn't working right now, or something like that, you know, and it just sounds odd, you know. It's like, what am I talking about here? And then I think Steve's character was, they're very sensitive, you know, so it was like, what are we talking about, you know? So it's just sometimes really weird, you know.
Was that the most ridiculous line you've ever had to say, or as been suggested in the chat, was most of the lines in Power Rangers more ridiculous than that?
Well, yeah, Power Rangers had quite a bit of ridiculousness throughout it. It's been so long I can barely remember anything really stupid. Well, even just saying more phenomenal. You know, it's kind of, and you say it at a weird time, like when I did the Overdrive, like I cut the monster, you know, or whatever, like with my axe across his chest, and he explodes in a ball of fire, and I yell more phenomenal, you know, and it's like, what?
I've got to admit that's pretty darn ridiculous.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it looked like you were having fun, and you certainly said that you were. We've got a couple more questions in the chat, and I'm going to turn it over to David again. You're being asked in the chat room if you want to do any lines of characters or anything, and if you do, that's completely up to you. If you want to say them in the voice or any lines that you think that your fans might want to hear, but several people have suggested they'd just love to hear something from you.
Well, let's see. The thing is if I yell okay, here's the thing. I have a 3-month-old baby, you know, and she's in the next room sleeping, so I can't really, half of my lines are you know, like I yell them. So I would have to think of something that.
Well, if you want to come back to it, you're more than welcome to. I definitely don't want to wake your sleeping baby. Congratulations from us, by the way, on your family. And you got asked in the chat room, when did you start playing guitar?
96, I think. About 96 or 97, somewhere in there is when I, you know, around when I left Power Rangers. That was really when I started to pick it up. I had nothing else to do. I couldn't get a job. And so I just sat at home and played it.
Did you teach yourself, or did you do any instructional videos or anything?
No, I bought a few like books, you know, and they kind of show you where the placement of chords are, and then eventually you know, and you just start listening to music and you figure out where the chords are, and just taught myself from listening.
That's great that you are self-taught as far as that goes. David, I believe you're next.
Yeah. So we all know you have done a lot of work. What's been your favorite role?
I think one of my favorites. It's hard to pinpoint, the best role, but I think Nero from Devil May Cry 4 is probably one of my favorite roles. And again, it was because I wasn't limited to the animation. It wasn't already drawn. It was a character. It was a script, so it was a character I was able to read and figure out and play the way I wanted to play the character. It wasn't animated where I had to like match flaps, and if the character was screaming, I had to make him scream. It was all my own choices, and so there's much more freedom in acting that way. And then, not to mention, I got to go to Japan to do the motion capture for the character, and that, just being able to go to Japan also makes it pretty cool. But to do motion capture, it was the first time I really did motion capture in bodysuit. So it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
So that would definitely be one of them.
And I guess on the flip side, have you ever had a never had a role. Have you ever gladly turned down a job or a role?
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a couple. But I'm not going to say what they are.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
There's even some stuff that I've worked on here recently where I got into the booth and what the director wanted me to do and what I felt like was right for the character just we weren't connecting, and I felt like I actually mentioned that, hey, maybe I should not do this character, so that's happened a couple of times. Okay. But sometimes they just say, no, you're doing fine, which is like, well, that's the thing. It's like, it's not, am I doing fine? Why do you have me changing everything I'm saying? If I'm not playing the character right, I shouldn't be doing it. If you have to keep telling me how to play the line, and it's a type of character that I feel like I can just play. I've played them a ton of times. And I just want to, I want to try some new things and take the character a little darker, but well, I guess without saying what the character and role is, then you really have no idea. I'm just rambling. But anyway.
Well, no, I think it's still interesting to know that there are roles that you've turned down.
Yeah.
Even if you can't tell us what it is.
All right.
That's totally fair.
I think every voice actor is that way, though. I'm sure that there's a ton of people that turn roles down.
Mm-hmm.
I would think.
I've got a question. You are a martial artist. You are a very, good and fit guy. Have you ever hurt yourself doing stunts or anything for any of your live action roles?
Yeah. When I was in Japan, I messed up my knee. The funny thing is I didn't mess it up doing anything but turning at a right angle. But prior to that, I was carrying the person who was playing Kyrie, and she didn't weigh a lot. She was like maybe 120, 130 pounds. But I had to carry her across the room. I had to jump down off of a 3-foot, mat onto the floor and drop down onto a knee and lift up. So I had to do that, and they have to do it a number of takes. And so I guess it wore on my knee, and eventually when I was just like walking around, I turned and it popped. But I guess that doesn't count as stunt. Let's see. I cracked my rib. That film I did, Wicked Game or Extreme Heist. I snapped my rib in that. It's kind of towards the end. If you've seen it, there's this moment where we do a ratchet pull. So basically, there's a wire attached to me when I get kicked, or I can't remember I'm pretty sure I get kicked. And so they pull the ratchet and it launches me back, about 10 feet or whatever. And I chose to go back more like onto my shoulders, and I somehow landed wrong, snapped my rib. I didn't snap my rib, I fractured my rib. I split my head open on a film called Broken Path.
Oof.
It's like I think of the second day of filming, You can probably watch the whole movie on YouTube or find it somewhere to download. I think there's some Israeli bootlegs on Amazon or something. But yeah, it's there's like a weird thing going on with the producers right now, and I don't know if it's going to get distribution here or not. But it has in Africa and other places, just not here. But there's a moment on it, which you can probably watch this on YouTube also. But there's a moment earlier on when one of the characters grabs me and tosses me into a chair, and basically I slide through the first take. I run and slide into the chair, and then I'm supposed to land in the entertainment center, and so I do the first take, and they need it again because the glass opened up a bit and they could see reflection. And so it didn't hurt, so I thought, well, I'm going to go faster because it'll look cooler, you know. And so I went faster, slammed into the chair, missed the entertainment center, and hit the corner of the house, and which was made of wood or whatever, and it was a brick. And so I hit the wood speaker, and it split my head. But it's funny, they kept the take, though. So I slammed my head. You can see it. I slam my head, and I get up, and then we cut. But right after that cut, I stumbled to the ground. And I kind of started acting crazy. You know, I was like, I mean, I'm the lead of the film, but they were wanting to take me to the hospital so I can get stitches or whatever. And I was like, don't replace me. I was getting all mad and angry. I think I went loopy there for a bit from the slam. But then they stitched me up. They did some baseball stitches, and I came back that day a few hours later and kept shooting.
Nice.
Ouch, is what I've got to say. We just had a caller in from South Kansas, and I muted them because there was some background noise. If you're in the chat, South Kansas, just mute what you've got going on and feel free to call back in, and we'll put you live on the call so you can ask your question. But that is why you were muted. And now I'm going to go back to the chat room questions for a moment. Can you tell us what that was that you worked on that involved the happy, sad story that you told just a moment ago?
It was a game.
Are you allowed to tell us what it was called?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. And a lot of times with the games, they don't really tell us the name. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times it's, they just give us an initial, like it's G4 or N1. BD. I just worked on something called BD was all they gave me, so I have no idea what it was. Yeah,
so they kind of keep it code named so you don't leak it by accident.
Exactly. It's like we sign the NDA, but they also go a little step further and don't tell us what the show is sometimes. So I really don't remember. Yeah.
Fair enough. You're also being asked in the chat room, how does it feel being made of so much awesome?
That's ridiculous.
It's a real question. It's right there in the chat room.
Yeah, I'm not that awesome. I'm
a
regular guy.
That particular listener seems to think that you are.
Well,
so there you go.
Well, I definitely appreciate the support.
Let me get back to my thing here. All right, there we go. All right, so given that you have fans and fans think that you're awesome, did you ever think that you'd actually have this fandom?
No, really, I didn't. It was, Power Rangers was the first thing I did, and the show was already in its first season, so it was already a popular show when I got on. So it was like once I took the role, there was instantly, a following, Of course, there were a couple people that were upset. Some people thought I was the same character, but I'm like, no, I'm Asian. He was black. It's a little different. But the fan base, was there. So that first, going from, just being this kid who studied martial arts and playing soccer to this guy who's now on Power Rangers with a ton of fans, that was the first thing. So I'm used to it now, but obviously then it was a really strange thing. I couldn't go. We lived in the same area that we were working in, so anywhere I went, to the store or Six Flags or wherever, people would recognize me. See, any of us Rangers at the time really couldn't get away and do much, without getting noticed. But then now, after time had passed or whatever, now it's not that big a deal. Now it's like some people might recognize you, and if they do, they'll probably think that you went to high school with them or something,
So, given that you got recognized, and I guess still get recognized, do you get tired of fans coming up to you and saying, "Hey, you were in Power Rangers. Can you say it's Morphin time?"
No, I mean, it depends. Usually it's not a big deal for me, and that's one of the reasons why I go to the conventions is because I get to meet some of the fans, and obviously if somebody asks me to say something there, then yeah, I most likely will say it, unless it's a bunch of screaming, which I will still sometimes do. But if I've got to sing with the band or something, then I probably will hold off. But yeah, I really don't. It doesn't bother me, It kind of comes with the territory, This is what I do, and if somebody wants to hear me say something, a line or whatever, if I can, I will, because I don't know if it makes them happy, why not do it,
See, we appreciate that outlook. That's what Kyle had said as well, because you're there for the fans and to kind of play into what they like. So we appreciate you doing that. That being said, there are good fans and there are kind of scary fans. Does the fandom or those kind of fans scare you or intimidate you in any way?
No, I don't scare easily, but there are some that are, they're different, and usually, it's like 1 in 100, there'll be the odd one, the one that won't stop following you or whatever. But I don't know that I've had too many crazy fans. In fact, I'm trying to think if I've had like a really crazy fan, but I don't know that I really actually had a crazy fan.
Well, we promise not to be the crazy fans at Comic-Con. So there you go.
All right, cool.
We've got a few more questions for you, and there's a couple more questions in the chat, and I'll get to those questions in just a minute. David, I think you've got the next one though.
Indeed, I do. Talking about fans and conventions and stuff. What's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you at a convention?
The weirdest thing?
Yeah.
If you can think of it, if it comes straight to your front of your mind.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I can't say. I've had a lot of experiences, like good and bad, but I can't think of one that's like really, really weird right now.
Okay.
And we can come back to that one if you think about it.
All right. I can't think of it.
All right, fair enough.
That's
fair enough. I'm waiting for William. Sir William.
Oh, yes.
He's stunned. He was hoping that you'd have a really crazy story, and you stunned him that you didn't. Go ahead, Will.
All right. Let's see here. Do you ever have you ever gotten sort of annoyed that you felt like you've gotten I've forgotten the word I wanted to say.
Typecast?
Typecast. Thank you.
No problem.
Does it annoy me? You mean like to play the typical anime hero and that kind of stuff?
Well, it just seems like, just going through your catalog of at least voice acting roles, you either get cast as the hero or the sort of snarky sidekick. And have you ever felt a desire to kind of get a character that wasn't one of those two things?
Yeah, it doesn't annoy me, but I think it all just stems from, the first couple of things that I did happen to be, the heroes, and I was playing more my natural range. Vash was a little higher, but it was still very much my natural. Like it was very comfortable for me, voice-wise, to be there. And Kaneda and Akira and Kiba and Wolfstring. So they were all kind of generally in the same area as far as voice is. Kiba might be a little bit in my lower register, but it's still comfortable. And I think from that, a lot of that's, those are my more familiar roles. And so a lot of times when the producer is either looking me up or whatever, they heard me in that, and that's what they want to hear. And so I think that's why a lot of times I get cast in that same kind of just my natural range. It's because that's what they heard and that's what they're used to. I've only really done a couple of young kid voices and rarely do any kind of accents or anything else or far off characters. I mean, I just not too long ago did some accent stuff, but it doesn't annoy me, I mean, it'd be nice to start doing some other things. And my band, we have this podcast that we hadn't done anything with, and so we started our first podcast, which was kind of more of an introduction, just seeing if it would work. And so we actually, like with Narvi and we're going to start doing little sketches. They're going to be really stupid, and I may try out some other things that I haven't done, just for kicks. So at some point, I guess people can check them out.
Those sound pretty fun. You'll have to let us know when those come out, and we'll link it to our blog there.
Cool.
All right, so I've got a few more questions from the chat room, and then we're going to ask you some of our fun questions that'll take you kind of outside of the box. Let me find one. Guest 19 asks, do you think you would cameo on Power Rangers again?
I don't think so. I mean, that's tough, It's there would have to be, first off, if Koichi was asking me to do it, then I would probably do it, because he's almost like my sensei, and so if he's asking me to do it, then I'm going to do it. But I don't think that now Haim has it, Haim Saban, who originally had it, he's got it now, and I don't think he's going to want me back. Because I think most of everybody who worked on the show with him, probably said a few bad things about him, and I'm sure he doesn't want to work with any of those people again, and I'd be one of them. So, yeah.
Well, I guess if you were asked, you'd have to put a lot of thought into it. I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were also asked, who do you favor in the Super Bowl?
You know what? I don't really know if I don't really care.
I think you're with the rest of us, and you're like, commercials. That's who I favor in the Super Bowl.
You know what? That's so funny. That's what I've been doing. Is I have the only reason I'm watching it is because of the commercials, and I have not been impressed this year by any of the commercials. I mean, maybe there was that McDonald's one where the Bears, shake the, for the last fry. There's always one more fry on the bottom. That was kind of funny, but I'm not sure if any of them really. Like, I feel like they've been better,
Fair enough. The last question from the chat for this round is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
5 years? Hopefully above ground. I'd like to have a couple more films done. I really don't know. I would like to see that the band is. I don't look that far, I guess, into the future. I really kind of start planning the year, what I'm going to do. I mean, I guess I have goals. Like, I want the band to be successful. I want to have a couple more films, and so to get there, I kind of map out my route to get those things done with a certain amount of time, like a year, basically. And so I kind of plan out my year. Like that, I guess. So I don't really know. 5 years. Hopefully I'm still working and doing all right, I guess.
I think that's a good attitude to have. So now we're going to move into our kind of more fun, more relaxed questions for you to kind of outside of the box sort of questions. The first one of those comes from the Power Rangers movie. What was it like being a frog?
It was actually pretty cool. It's probably the only thing that I remember from the show.
Now you ad-libbed that line completely, right? The I'm a frog line.
Yeah, originally the script was, we all lose our powers and we have these animal spirits, and so she goes through and tells each one of us, you're the wolf and you're cunning or something, and so she goes through each one of us, and I think it was like the frog was agile or whatever it was, and it didn't make sense, or he was fast, I think it was, like, you have speed of a frog, and when I read the script, I was like, are you kidding me? Speed of a frog? That doesn't make any sense at all. And so I had asked the director if I could just be bummed out to get the frog, because it just seems like a lame animal spirit, like, what can you do with a frog? Like, I can't even jump high, as far as powers wise, so who cares, right? And so he had us play it the way the script was written, and then he said, well, let's go ahead and give it a shot. And so we tried it out, and that's the way it is, I guess, in the film, so it's kind of cool. The funny thing is, though, it's like, you can tell it's someone like me, like, not like a writer, like, figured it all out, it's like, because, like, she says, her response is like, I'm a frog, and she's like, yes, like the one you kiss to get a handsome prince, and she kisses me on the forehead, and then she goes on to Tommy, who's like the falcon, the winged lord of the sky, but then that still doesn't explain what my power is, her kissing me on the forehead, because that's like, it doesn't, like, what do I do in battle then? I just have to make sure they kiss me on the forehead and then I'll be all right. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense as far as, like, she still didn't tell me what my power was. So.
Yeah, as it's been quoted in the chat room, that is exactly what I remember that scene happening. Is she just kind of moves on to the next ranger down the line and just sort of shrugs it off. It's like, oh yeah, that's your power, charm.
Yeah, exactly. So good luck out there, Adam. You're a frog zord. But Tommy, you're the falcon, the winged lord of the sky. I always thought that was funny.
Wow. All right. So, if you had to live in a fictional universe, any fictional universe, which one would you pick?
I don't know. First thing that comes to my mind would be like Star Wars. If I had the Force, if I could have the Force, then that's where I'd want to be. Because that seems kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Force. Yeah.
I gotta admit, that is a pretty cool power or fictional universe to live in.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool, right?
All right, and my question for you is, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, what weapon would you choose and why?
Weapon, I would probably choose, I have a few swords here in my place. So I'd probably use a sword. Because, ammo runs out, and the sword you can still cut their head off and stab them through the eye, get to their brain or something. So, and it could always make a gruesome death for someone. So, yeah.
Well, given that I think you're probably trained somewhat in using one, I think you've got a better chance than the rest of us. Yeah. All right, those of you in the chat room, this is your last call to type a question in for Johnny Yong Bosch. We're going to wrap it up here with our kind of more relaxed questions here. Mine for you is, so you do a lot of stuff. What exactly do you do to relax when you've got time off, to decompress?
I sit in the backyard. I barbecue. I can cook up a mean anything barbecue wise. So yeah, sit around. I watch movies, man. I guess I love kung fu movies, and I just ordered a ton of kung fu, like old kung fu films that I've been searching for. And the thing that sucks is if you get kung fu movies like DVDs online, you can get them, but whoever's like recording them or like transferring them from VHS to DVD isn't paying attention. Because I just got one, Kung Fu Zombie, with Billy Chong in it, and the thing skips. And it's not the DVD that's skipping, it's the image that's skipping. So when they're transferring it, like the image was skipping. So it's ridiculous. I got to return it. But anyways, I guess I watch movies.
Can you recommend a few good Kung Fu titles to us?
Crystal Fist, also known as Jade Claw, is that is like one of my favorites. Shaolin versus Lama is another one of my favorites. Well, everybody knows the Bruce Lee movies, Enter the Dragon. But have you ever seen Enter the Fat Dragon? No. All right, go check it out. I'm serious. Enter the Fat Dragon is a good one. Let's see, Two Wondrous Tigers, Thundering Mantis. There's just so many of them. But I guess you kind of have to be like, you gotta like kung fu movies. If you think that anime dubs are bad, you're obviously not going to be into the whole kung fu movie thing.
I love kung fu movies. I gotta admit.
And that's one of the things I like about them is the poorly dubbed, versions of. Dirty Ho is a good one. Broken Oath, 8 Diagram Pole Fighter, Pedicab Driver, Prodigal Son is a good one. Dude, there's so many. There's so many.
Well, we thank you very much for those recommendations.
Yeah. Well, speaking of recommendations, do you have any tips for people trying to get into the business?
As an actor or as a voice actor?
Either or, whichever you'd rather give tips on, I guess.
From my experience, it's kind of hard for me to tell you, I've done quite a few voiceover jobs, but it's hard to really to say, follow my footsteps, and this is how you can become a voice actor. Because, the way I got into it was these guys screwed up the audio and I had to dub it over, and luckily that producer was doing some anime and wanted me to come in and audition, and I got the part, and that was the start of it for me. So I can't really say, well, go do a lame film and make sure your sound guys suck. Hopefully that producer does anime. But I can say that, if you want to get into voice acting, then acting is probably, the most important part of it, and I wouldn't pinpoint and just say, I just want to be a voice actor, because that's not really going to do it, because voice acting, unless you're doing video games, which do pay well, anime specifically doesn't. Animation, original animation will pay pretty good, but if you're doing anime, it doesn't pay a whole lot. It really doesn't. It's kind of it's actually frowned upon by most of the industry. They think, oh, you do anime stuff, and it's because the rate is so low on it, and it's been so low for a long time. It's a lot higher than, I guess, working at McDonald's, but it's still not that big. But anyhow, acting, obviously, you got to have a clear voice too, and you have to have a good timing, and take direction well, because, like I said before, directors will definitely direct you and guide you in sometimes a different direction than you want to go, and sometimes, most times, you just have to kind of go with the director and trust that the director knows the show better than you. Although there are sometimes when you know the show better than the director, but you still have to do what the director says, otherwise you don't get the job. But I guess other than that, really the most important thing, and I think any actor could say, is get auditions. Make sure you got the acting going, but getting auditions is how you obviously are going to get in the door ever. Once you get an audition and you actually land a role, make sure you do a decent job on that first role so that people will recommend you for another or want to bring you in for another audition. And that's kind of how it happened for me,
Cool.
All right, William?
Am I bringing it home?
Bring it home.
All right. If you weren't an actor or a singer or any of the other, 12 things that you do, what profession would you like to try the most?
Yeah, that's pretty tough. growing up, wasn't like a stupid kid, you know. I made decent grades. I made A's and B's, you know. The only thing I ever failed was Spanish, but that was Spanish 2 and 3 because I just got bored after the first year. But still, for me, like, things that are more rewarding are when I can be creative and create things, like creating music, creating characters, creating whatever, a voice or an idea. So any way that I could be creative. So the only thing I can think of, and I used to draw quite a bit and paint and all that when I was younger, and kind of stopped once I started doing acting. But I guess if I couldn't do any of the things I'm doing now, I guess I would be an artist. You know.
Very nice.
Which I think you kind of do with the covers for your CDs. So.
You know what? I guess in a way, I'm pretty good at Photoshop now. Yeah. So, but you know, but I was more like, I would pencil sketch things or whatever, you know, and you know, there's so many different things I would do. You know, I haven't found them, but back when I was in school, like, we had wax pencils, you know, and the cool thing about wax pencils is you can draw a full page and just color it all with these different wax pencils, and then later you can just polish it, and it just looks really cool. And I've yet to find them, and I'm always out looking, but I have not found good wax pencils. I don't even know if they make them anymore. Maybe they're bad for you.
And well, if we stumble across them at the art supply store here in town, we'll bring them to Comic-Con.
All right.
So there you go. You'll get a gift from us. There's a couple more questions in the chat, and this will wrap it up for us. Prophet 144 asks, "What is your style of martial arts that you do now?"
Well, it's still Kung Fu. I did study. I've studied a few various other arts here and there. A bit of, you know, not a whole lot in these other areas, but jiu-jitsu, judo, hapkido, jeet-kune-do, taekwondo, I guess, karate. So I mean, I really kind of went through a stage of trying to study everything I could, and it was because half the stunt guys I work with all come from different styles of martial arts, and so to train with them, I was able to pick bits and pieces out of from their styles that really fit me well. And so I've kind of done a little bit here and there of just about everything, but I think my main foundation has always been Shaolin Kung Fu. And the style I had studied, it did have, you know, obviously we did different animal styles, and we did have forms and kata, but we also studied a very realistic approach to and street fighting and things like that. It's probably still the best school in Texas, or at least in Dallas. We would always win the competitions, you know. And it wasn't that other schools were bad. It was just like our teacher was good, and he trained us hard. And didn't charge us a lot either, you know. And
so you've done competitions, and those were kind of fun for you?
Oh yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Do you hold a belt?
You know what, the last, it would be a purple sash in Kung Fu, because then I came out here to California. And then I had studied a few other styles and was going through the belt system and whatnot. And there's also in the back of my head, I never really wanted to be an official black belt, because then you're a lethal weapon, and then if you get into a fight and beat the crap out of somebody, you're held liable. And so if you hold yourself back as far as belt standards go, you can still train to the level of black belt, but you can't be held accountable. And that was my weird mentality. But back in the day, I fought a lot. You know, I got in a ton of fights, and so I just kind of remember, well, this is all I need to do. And so when I trained at these other schools, there's a bunch of them out here. Like, the thing I hate about certain martial arts schools is that they will charge you for everything, and you know the instant you walk in the door that it's all about money, you know, and it's not about the style, it's not about training, it's about how much money can I get out of these kids, you know. It's like, and then it's like every belt test you have to pay more money, and you have to pay for whatever, you know. And it wasn't like that with the school I grew up in, so it was very odd for me to see that, you know. we were rewarded belts after a long time, after we reached a certain point. And we would see these same Taekwondo guys that were fighting and beating the hell out of at these competitions. They're just going up. They're already black belts. And I was like a green belt, or green sash. And so I was already the equivalent of the black belt Taekwondo guys fighting with them and beating them. And so it just didn't make sense to me either. It was kind of ridiculous. But I think most people know that too. It's like a belt really is just, it's good for nothing, unless it's that specific style.
Right.
So I think most people would realize that, okay, well, it doesn't matter what you are, defending yourself it's just across the board is different, But then I guess MMA would probably be one of the better things to get into now if you're going to choose something. But I think a lot of martial arts schools now offer both anyhow. Back even the Shaolin Kung Fu that I took, it was still a mixed martial arts school. We studied all different styles, even though our main style was Shaolin Kung Fu. We did a lot of street fighting though,
Let's see here. I've got a couple more, I think one or two more here, and then we're out of the woods. Who is your favorite singer or band?
Man, that's a tough one.
The chatters are asking you tough questions, I think, tougher than ours.
Yeah. I like the Beatles. I feel like I can pretty much always listen to them. You know what? It's kind of, for me, I guess, I don't know if there's just one singer or one band that is like my favorite. But it's, I guess, as far as music goes, it's any kind of song, or it doesn't even have to be a song, it could be a motion picture score or something. Anything that moves me emotionally, I'm gonna, obviously I'll like. And, I feel like a lot of bands, I feel like there's a lot of bands on the radio that I don't like and that I'm surprised are even on the radio.
I'll agree with that 100%.
Yeah, if you look at it, a lot of them they feel like factory made, and then it's like, okay, what is this? Come on, it's not really about the music a lot of times. It's more about how much money can they make, So it's weird. I don't know.
All right, and the last question from our chat room is, have you read any manga, and if you have, what is your favorite?
Oh, I have. Blade of the Immortal is one of my favorites, I guess. I like King of Hell, but it was very Naruto feeling. And dang it, there was another one. Let me just figure out what the name of it was. Dogs, Bullets and Carnage. And I only got through a little bit of it, and I have no idea what happened. They're probably making an anime, I'm sure. But it looked pretty cool.
Again, fantastic recommendations. Well, Johnny, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come by and talk to us. Do you have any parting words you'd like to say to those in the chat or those listening on the download?
Well, thanks for listening, and thanks for the great questions. I guess I should plug things that I'm in, right?
Oh, yeah, plug away. Plug whatever you like.
Definitely go check out my band at iShine.net, and if you like us, let us know. If you don't, well, I guess you should let us know, too. And my Twitter's twitter.com/Johnny Yong Bosch if you want to follow up and see what I'm up to. Most of the time I'll mention something there.
Yeah, I'll toss you...
And, we do have a podcast, the band. We are having a podcast. It's on iTunes. We haven't exactly launched it yet. We did one as like a test, and then we're going to be doing it here in a couple weeks.
I'll definitely toss you a link to the show once it's done if you want to put it up on your Twitter for those who may have missed it, since they can come back and listen to it once it's recorded. And possibly to get the list of the Kung Fu movies from you so we can put those up if people are interested in them.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Johnny. Everybody else on the phone, tell Johnny thank you.
Thank you much, Johnny.
Man.
All right. You guys take care.
Thanks. You're free to go.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, gentlemen, do we have a recommendation for this week or a review for this week, or are we just closing it out?
I got nothing.
I got nothing. William, you got anything?
I second my recommendation of bacon.
Of bacon?
Yes.
Bacon is a wholly supported food with special guest team. I've got to admit.
I will amend that. I'm going to change it to the product I found a couple months ago: cheddar cheese full of bacon.
Oh,
cheddar
God,
cheese full of bacon. Wow.
It is a real product, and it is magnificent. If you're on a
that is amazing.
And it has no carbs if you're on a low carb diet.
That's oh yes, and bacon and caramel popcorn. I gotta admit, I'm curious about bacon and caramel popcorn. It's a strange combination.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so the With Special Guest team recommends bacon this week. Indeed we do. I think we recommend bacon any week. If you don't like it, what's wrong with you? I think bacon is the secret, vegan thing. They like you cook bacon and they smell it. They're like, I want bacon.
Well, they made fake bacon, so
they do make fake bacon. Bacon flavored salt.
Count.
They make bacon flavored salt.
Oh God.
They make bacon flavored mayonnaise.
Yeah, I know about
and
that.
chocolate covered bacon.
Yeah.
Bacon quite possibly is the most perfect food. All right, next week on this madness, we will be joined by animator Sketch McQuinnor, who works on the Cartoon Network shows Squidbillies and the FX show Archer. He also did some work for Aqua Teen Hunger Force and the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie. He'll be joining us next week. Also joining us next week will be Jonathan Gray, who does most works on the Archie Sonic books, though he is now working on some Disney books. I think he's working on Mickey Mouse, and I believe just did some stuff for Scrooge. They'll be joining us next week, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And in 2 weeks, we have this guy.
Hi, this is John Bermuda Schwartz, the man behind the drums, behind the man behind the accordion, Weird Al Yankovic. I'll be spending 60 thrilling and insightful minutes with the Big Leneski on With Special Guest, answering your questions about my career with Weird Al and how I've managed to juggle several bands and a family, literally without missing a beat. Log on Sunday, February 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and for my friends in Helsinki, that's 2 o'clock Monday morning. I'll see you then.
Which is, of course, the reason we have to be back from Comic-Con on time. Thanks very much for stopping by, folks. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.
Bye.